What is going on, my math hate people? Here we go. We got lesson 2-7, equations from point and the slope. So in the last lesson, in the previous lessons, we've seen that if we want to write the equation of a line, we need two things. We need the slope and we need the y-intercept. So we need m and b in the equation y equals mx plus b. Today what we're going to look at is what if we have the slope, but we don't have the y-intercept? Can we still find the equation of the line? And the answer is yes. Yes, we can. So here we go. We're going to graph the line that passes through -2, -1, and has a slope of 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph that first point. -2, -1. So I go back 2, down 1. The x value is -2, the y value is -1. So I go left 2, down 1. There's my first point. Okay, I want to graph this line, and it has a slope of 2. That means 2 over 1, so the change in the y value is +2, and the change in the x value is +1. So from this point, we don't have to always start at the y-intercept. From this point, we can now start graphing using the slope. The increase in the y value is 2. The increase in the x value is 1. So I could go up 2 over 1. I could do it again. Up 2 over 1. And again, up 2 over 1. That's all I can fit there. But not only that, but I can also do -2 over -1. Because -2 over -1 reduces to +2, right? So I could also go down 2 and left 1, down 2 and left 1, and they're all on the same line. So everything's great. So here's my line. So using the slope and a random point, I can graph the line. So what's the equation line? Remember, we need y equals mx plus b, and we need the w, y equals mx plus b. So we need two things. We need the slope, which they gave us. The slope is 2. So y equals 2x, and then I also need the y-intercept. And over here, I can see that I found the y-intercept. The y-intercept was right here at +3. There we go. So I didn't need the y-intercept. I could eventually use the slope to find my y-intercept. Now that's how we would do it on a coordinate plane on a graph. But what if we just wanted to use algebra to do it? Meaning, what if we didn't want to graph it, we just wanted to use equations to solve this? Well, when they gave us a point and the slope, in the equation y equals mx plus b, they're giving us m, and since the point is made up of x's and y's, they gave us the x and y as well. So for instance, our x value is -2, our y value is -1. So I can plug in the y value of -1, the m value, the slope of 2, and the x value of -2. And that would leave me with b, and then I can solve for the y-intercept, b. Zoom in a little bit there. All right, so instead of y, I'm going to plug in -1. Instead of m, I'm going to plug in 2. Remember, this is the slope times x. So when I plug in x, I'm going to multiply by -2 plus b. All right, so I've got everything except for the y-intercept solved for here. So I'm going to just do a little bit of math here. So I got -1 equals 2 times -2 is -4 plus b. And now to get b by itself, I can add 4 to both sides. And I end up with b is equal to +3, which is exactly what I found up here. Here's the y-intercept of +3. Here I mathematically found it by plugging in y, m, and x. The y and the x come from the point, and then the slope gives us the m value. So now that I know that the b value is 3, and they told me earlier that the m value was 2, my equation is still y equals 2x plus 3. But I solved it without ever having to graph. And that's the direction we're going to go today, is how do we solve it without ever having to graph. Okay, so we're going to have some steps here. Steps to find the equation of a line using just a random point, so not necessarily a y-intercept, and the slope. So first of all, we're going to use y equals mx plus b, and we're going to substitute or plug in the point into the x and y, and the slope into m. So just like we did before, the x and y, we plugged in the point, the m, we plugged in the slope. Step 2, we're going to solve for b. This is where we solve for b right here. We found out what b is. Last step, we're going to write the equation in slope-intercept form. That's y equals mx plus b, using the slope we were given and the b value that we found. We were given a slope of 2. We found the b value is 3, so our final answer is y equals 2x plus 3. 3 easy steps. Let's do it. All right. Find the equation of the line that passes through 0, negative 10 with a slope of 7. Now this one, if you're really paying attention, you notice that they gave us a special point here. This point is the y-intercept, because the x value was 0. So this must be the y-intercept. So I actually already know the equation of this line. It's y equals m, the slope is 7, x, and then plus b. And the b value, since this is the y-intercept when x is 0, we get minus 10. But let's just go ahead and prove algebraically that it works, and just to practice our steps. Okay, so for practicing our steps, this would be x, this would be y, this would be m. We're going to take the slope-intercept equation, y equals mx plus b. We're going to plug in the y, we're going to plug in the m, we're going to plug in the x. All right, let's do it. Instead of y, we plug in negative 10. Equals. Instead of m, we're going to plug in 7. Instead of x, we're going to plug in 0. Plus b. Okay, that's step 1. We substituted the x and the y and the slope. Now we're going to solve for b. So to solve for b, 7 times 0 is 0. So I get negative 10 equals b. I solve for b. That was pretty easy since this was 0. So b is negative 10. Last step, write the equation in slope-intercept form using the slope, which was this, and the y-intercept that we just found, which is this. So our equation would be y equals, remember we're using mx plus b. So instead of m, we plug in 7. Instead of b, we plug in the negative 10 that we found. We have the exact same answer that we found over there when we realized that this is the y-intercept. All right, if you're feeling saucy, try this one out on your own. Use this as the x, this is the y, and this as the m. Maybe pause it right here, try it out, and I'll show you how I did it. All right, so unpaused maybe. So here we go. I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. Instead of y, I plug in negative 6. Instead of m, I plug in negative 3. Instead of x, I plug in 8 plus b. So I want to find out what b is. I plugged in y, m, and x. Okay, now I just do the math. So I got negative 6 equals negative 3 times 8 is negative 24 plus b. To solve at this point, I need to add 24 to both sides. 24 minus 6 is 18. There you go. B is 18. But this is not the answer. We want the equation in slope-intercept form. So if I've got y equals mx plus b, my m value, they gave it to me, it was negative 3. My b value, I just found it, it's 18. There's the equation. All right, 2 more. Find the equation of the line passing through negative 25, 7 with the slope of 1/5. All right, so this is x, this is y, this is m. So I'm going to plug it into y equals mx plus b. Y is 7 equals m is 1/5. X is negative 25 plus b. Okay, remember when you're multiplying by 1/5, you're going to multiply by 1 and divide by 5. So since the numerator is 1, multiplying by 1 is not going to change anything, so I'm just going to divide this by 5. Negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. Now I solve for b. I add 5 to both sides. And b is equal to 12. I'm not done. I still need to write the equation. The equation should be in the form of y equals mx plus b. Instead of m, I'm going to plug in 1/5. Instead of b, I just found it over here. B is 12. Done. There's my equation. Last one. Try it out on your own. Remember when you multiply by negative 2/3, you multiply by negative 2, you divide by 3. Try it out on your own. Maybe pause at this point. All right, here's me solving it. This is x, this is y, and this is m. So I do 14 equals m, negative 2/3, x, negative 12, plus b. Okay, remember to multiply by negative 2/3, you multiply by negative 2 first. So that would be positive 24. And then you divide by 3. So I did negative 2 times 12, 24. And then divided by 3, I get 8. So I've got 14 equals 8 plus b. Now I finish by solving for b. I subtract 8 from both sides. And I get b is equal to 6. I'm not done. I still need to write the equation. Y equals mx plus b. M, they gave to me, was negative 2/3. X and b we just found was positive 6. Done. All right, 3 simple steps. I know you got this. Do your homework. See you guys later. Bye-bye.